Hello, my name is Briar. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the Would You Rather Writer Edition tag, which I first saw on Janisha Jacobs' channel. I will link her channel and video down below so you can go reference that as well. This is a series of 20 questions. This is a series of 20 Would You Rather questions where you're given two scenarios of writerly character things and you get to pick one or the other, and you have to do one. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get started on that. I am in the midst of moving, so this is a really quick and easy video to film an update. Question number 1. Would you rather have a masculine or feminine main character? Me personally, I like to write my main characters being feminine because that is the world as I know it. I honestly don't have a lot of guy friends that I talk to about getting really into their head, so I don't know what it's like to exist from that point of view. So some of my characters are young men, boys, masculine, but most of my characters are women, feminine characters, more like me. Question number 2 is about writing time, and it's would you rather wake up super early to get your writing done or stay up super late into the early morning hours to get your writing done? And me personally, I am a creature of... I don't do either of those things. I am like a midday writer. I will write mid-morning to afternoon, early afternoon, and that's when my writing gets done. And if I try to write early in the morning, I'm too sluggish. And if I try to write late in the evening, I'm too tired and drained. So I tend to write in the midday. But if I had to pick one, I would prefer to wake up early and get my writing done with like 5 a.m. Writers Club rather than trying to stay up super late, because I can stay up late. I often don't fall asleep until midnight, 1 a.m., all those things. But I'm not doing anything at those times, and creatively I am drained. So not my best time to be making things. And also I'm not very coherent. Like I'm just too tired. So early morning for me. Question number 3 is about your writing process and the audience that comes from that. So would you rather write a book that is torturous to write but becomes very popular, or a book that is fun to write but doesn't have a big audience? And me personally, writing is my escape. It is my fun time. So I don't want to write something that is torturous to me. And I'm not writing to sustain myself. I will almost always guaranteed have a part-time or full-time job on top of my writing. So I am always going to go for something that is fun to write, no matter the size of the audience. Question number 4. Would you rather write sci-fi or fantasy? I like magic. I'm gonna write fantasy every single time. And sci-fi, even like soft sci-fi where you just sort of hand wave the technology and it's kind of like magic, not really my bag. I watch sci-fi. I don't really read or write sci-fi. Fantasy, magic and dragons, all the way. Question number 5 is about POV. Would you rather write in first person or third person? I have experience writing in both. Sometimes within the same scene, I will switch back and forth, and I always have to catch myself because I default to writing in first person. I always default to writing in first person. It's where I really got my start with my writing, and that's gonna be, if I have to choose one to write for the rest of my life, I'm gonna write in first person. Question number 6 is a who would you like to meet kind of question. Would you rather meet any character from a book or short story in real life for one day, or personally know any author you wish? And I am an awkward duckling, so if I meet someone for just one day, I'm not the kind of person that's going to like interview them or build bonds with them or really get to know them very well. Everything's going to be sort of surface level on a single day interaction. So meeting anybody for just one day, I'm not really going to get a lot of value out of that. So I'm going to go with knowing any author that I wish personally, because I also greatly value mentorship in the writing space, and having a famous author, someone who I know and admire, to have a personal relationship with, hopefully they would be willing to guide me on my way to becoming a successful writer myself. Question number 7 is a writing process question again. Would you rather only be able to write your book in scenes from end to beginning, or only write by jumping around through the timeline of your book? And I am a linear writer. I write from beginning to end. I jump around in edits, but when I'm first writing and first drafting, I always write from beginning to end. And I liked that because it builds up the tension and all the pacing, and I get to see everything like as the characters are learning new things. And I don't really jump around when I'm writing, so I'm not gonna do that. And I guess writing from end to beginning is still more linear. You're just going from the big boom down to the slower, less intriguing start. So that sounds terrible. But you're moving from the end of it, the climax and the big battle and the aftermath of that, and you're moving backwards and seeing like where everything exploded and then piecing it back together to see how to get to that point. So it's still linear, it's just backwards. I could do that, I think, but I can't jump around. It's not my style. I forget enough when I'm trying to write linearly. If I was jumping around, my drafts would be chaos. More chaos anyway. Question number 8 is about writing process. Again, a lot of writing process questions. I love these questions. Would you rather only be able to write dialogue if you act out the voices, or only be able to write action if you act out the physicality of it? I write about people doing magic and fighting dragons and dying. So I'm gonna go with dialogue. I'll do voices. I like to do voices. I was a kindergarten teacher for 4 years. I'm really good at doing voices. Question number 9 is about your publishing timeline. Would you rather publish with the most successful publishing house in your genre but have to wait for 2 years to see your book on the shelves, or self-publish with no expense or marketing assistance and see your book in 3 months? Now, I'm a patient person. I've been writing since forever, it feels like, and it takes me years and years to get something done, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So I would rather publish with a successful publishing house and have to wait 2 years than try to rush through something and get overwhelmed with all of the things that have to be done in self-publishing just to have my book in my hands faster. That's not really appealing to me. It's not about speed, it's about quality. And if I'm giving myself 2 more years to see this through, that's fine with me. And ultimately, I would love to be traditionally published. That is like ultimate dream goal for some of my works. But I also want to self-publish some other things. So, you know, it is what it is. But 3 months is a very short timeline. And if I was self-publishing something and got to hold my book in 3 months, somebody is helping me, because that wouldn't happen. That would not happen. Nope. 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 I get too overwhelmed and frozen. Question 10, the halfway mark, is about tone. Would you rather write a goofy story or a serious story? I don't know if you can know this from watching my videos, but I am often not a very serious person. I love the goofiness of life, and I love the goofiness in stories, and even very serious, somber, scary stories. I like humor. I was a fan of Joss Whedon's works for a reason, and I definitely grew up on Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So, goofy. Leaning into the goof. Always. Even though Joss Whedon is a problematic creator, I still really appreciate his work, and I own like the entire Buffy and Angel series on DVD, so. Question number 11 is a slightly goofy question. Would you rather always have your authorial voice sound like the narrator from Planet Earth, or like Captain Kirk? I'm gonna go with Captain Kirk. Not really a reason, I just like that one. Question 12 is about killing characters. Would you rather write your story knowing eventually you're going to have to kill off your main character, or write your story and everyone around your main character you're eventually going to have to kill off? So you're either killing your main character or you're killing everyone around your main character. Personally, I would kill my main character. I think it has more impact, and it's an interesting premise. So yeah, my main character would die. I already kill off a lot of people around my main character, so that's not really new or interesting to me. Question 13 is about the ending. Would you rather have your ending be somewhat open and bittersweet, or leave your ending on a cliffhanger? I am going to go with the bittersweet ending for me personally, because cliffhangers... Okay, story time. Short story time. When I was in high school, there was a series on one of the alphabet channels, CBS, ABC, NBC, something like that, called Surface. Absolutely loved that story. It was a teenager found a river monster in like North Carolina or something, and he decided to raise this baby monster, and they discovered that there's all these giant sea monsters that live like in the Earth's core or whatever. And at the end of that series, semi-spoiler, our main cast is trapped in the steeple of a church while the town is flooding and they're surrounded by these sea monsters. And that's the end of the series because it didn't get renewed. So they just left that entire series on a cliffhanger. And I've been bitter about it ever since. I've carried that bitterness with me for half of my life, being bitter about this series that ended on a cliffhanger. And I am not willing to do that to readers. So I'm not going to leave an entire series on a cliffhanger. It's just not going to happen. Even if there's a possibility for a second book, if that second book doesn't get picked up or anything. Yeah, no, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Bittersweet ending for me. Okay, gotta speed up a little bit because my devices are dying. Question number 14. Would you rather have your cover art designed by Tim Burton or Stan Lee? My stories are very heavily inspired by superhero stories, so I'm gonna go with Stan Lee, even though some of them would probably be appropriate for Tim Burton films, but Stan Lee. Question number 15. Would you rather write in many different genres or always write in one genre? All of my stories now are sort of in the genre of contemporary fantasy, and that's fun. But I would rather write in many different genres because I want to explore different things. I want to write romance. I want to write horror. I want to write historical, maybe. I mean, it would probably just be set in the 90s or the aughts, but that's historical now, sadly. So I would like to write different genres. Question number 16. Would you rather write characters with physical disabilities or mental illness? Personally, again, this is based on my experiences and things that I feel comfortable writing. I would rather write characters with mental illness because that's something I'm more familiar with. I've never had a physical disability. I'm not very close friends with anyone who has a physical disability. So I would lean in more towards mental illness. That's something I'm more familiar with. Question 17, about characters' families. Would you rather have an orphaned main character with lots of good friends who become like a family, or a main character with an extended family with lots of family drama? I kind of love family drama, so I'm going to lean into that. A lot of my stories do have orphaned main characters, but I mean, those are also characters who kind of have family drama, but I like to write characters with families and see them interacting with siblings and parents and cousins and aunts and things like that, because I think it creates an interesting dynamic, so family drama. Question 18, writing sex. Would you rather write the sex scene or not write the sex scene? If you've watched any of my other videos, you probably know the answer to this, but I'm not writing the sex scene. I don't get it. Question number 19, 2 more to go. Would you rather write about uncertain dangers and intrigue or direct confrontation and violence? I like both. If I had to choose one, and I could only write one, I would go for the less obvious. I would go for the intrigue and the dramatic suspense and things like that, because I'm terrible at writing fight scenes. I write them, but they're not good. And I really dig into the more drawn out mysteriousness of an intrigue or suspense story. So I would lean more in that direction. And finally, question number 20. Would you rather have to answer any question that a fan asked or not have fans asking you any questions? And I am writing to build a community. I'm writing to create a place where people can get questions answered. So I want to answer fan questions. I definitely want to lean into answering questions, even if those questions are going to lead to spoilers. If the fan is asking, then I would give the best answer that I can. And if the answer to their question would contain spoilers or possibly spoil something or ruin some mysterious aspect of the story, I would let them know up front that their answer would contain that and ask them if they still want me to answer. And if they say yes, then I would answer in a private way, hopefully to not give that away to anyone who doesn't want that answered. But yeah, I am down to answer any questions. Always, always, always. So those are my 20 would you rather questions. Again, I'm going to link Janisha Jacobs. Thank you so much for your version of this video, and I hope you enjoy mine. And I hope that I will be able to really sit down and dig into bigger topics again here in the future, rather than just sort of doing some drive-by stories in my videos, because I am moving I think I've said that so many times in these videos, and I apologize if I'm just repeating myself over and over, but it's kind of consuming my life. So that's what we have. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you want to do this video, or if you know other people who have, please leave me a comment, and I would love to see other versions. I like to see other people's thought processes and how they're approaching these questions, because some of them seem super obvious to me, like, well, clearly I'm gonna answer this, and then other people are gonna have different approaches. So I wanna learn more about everybody else's writing style too. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great day.